Welcome to Cinemonika.
My favorite movies of 2024.
Let's go.
It seems to me like there were a lot of movies coming out these past few weeks. To be honest, I haven't caught up with all of them yet, but I do have my top 10 that I watch throughout the year. If I do end up adding another movie into this list, I will let you guys know in the comments. But before I start, disclaimer. These are my favorite movies of 2024. These are not the best movies objectively. These are not the Oscars. These are the Monikas. You know, it might change from person to person, and that's totally fine. So let's all be respectful of each other's lists. All right, now let's start with my top 10 movies of 2024. In number 10, we have Conclave. There's something about the Catholic Church to me that is so cinematic. This movie is not only beautiful to look at in terms of the costumes, the setting, the production design, the cinematography is incredible too, but the story itself, for me, it was like watching a reality show. Basically, the Pope has died and a new one has to be elected. During this whole process, there's so much gossip, there's so many conspiracies, there's so much drama that honestly, I never thought that my eyes would be so glued to the screen during the election of the new Pope. So dramatic. Number 9, Queer, directed by Luca Guadagnino. Luca was on a roll this year. I still can't fathom how he managed to release 2 of the best movies of the year in the same year. Obviously, you guys know his other film will make an appearance later in this list. But right now, we're talking about Queer, starred by Daniel Craig and Drew Starkey, who I actually didn't know. I guess he's in a popular show called Outer Banks. I haven't seen it. This man took me by surprise in this movie. I was like, I don't know who this man is, but I would be acting exactly like Daniel Craig is acting in this movie if I encountered this man. Yeah, he just has this magnetic effect. I don't know. Daniel Craig though is a star. This is, in my opinion, his best role yet in his entire career. He plays Lee, an American expat who is living in Mexico City in the 1950s, and he is just a raging drunk. Every day he goes to the bars, he gets drunk, he flirts with other men, he becomes infatuated with this younger man, and he does everything in his power to befriend him and get his attention. And he just gets obsessive to the point that is so embarrassing for him. But he's just longing for this connection. What I love about Luca Guadagnino is that he pushes himself every single time with every single movie that he releases. He does the longing, he does the yearning, he does this need to feel desired to the point where it just hurts. But he does it so differently every single time, and that's why he has become one of my favorite directors, because even though the themes might be similar, it just takes you by surprise every time. At least it does to me. Number 8, The Wild Robot. I had seen so many TikToks of people crying to this movie, and I was like, oh my god, I want to watch it, but also I'm a crier, and I know that I will probably cry if everybody else is crying. Yes, I cried. I cried a lot, actually. It's about this intelligent robot who ends up in this deserted island. There's a bunch of animals, but there's no other robots or humans. And she has to learn how to adapt in this new environment. Everything she knows is what has been programmed. She finds this egg, and when it hatches, a baby goose is born, and it thinks that the robot is its mom because it's the first thing it sees. So now she has to kind of raise this little goose against everything that has been programmed in her. It is absolutely beautiful. They learn how to help each other kind of navigate this world that they live in. It was such a feel-good movie. It was really funny. I feel like this is a perfect animated movie. If you're a crier, just forget it. You're gonna cry. Do not watch it with makeup on. Number 7, La Quimera. Technically, this movie came out in 2023, but I didn't see it until 2024. And I feel like it got a wider release in 2024, so here it is at number 7. It's about this man who has kind of a gift of finding graves, tombs. So he has these grave robber friends, and they all rob graves together in order to sell whatever they find. I love that you could just feel the loneliness of this man, the loneliness that was burdened by loss in his life, by death, and how he's trying to find life within death. He is literally hanging on to life by a thread. and it's just a beautiful movie to experience. For some reason, it just kind of feels like magic when you're watching this movie. There's something magical about it. Number 6, Wicked. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I'm obsessed with Wicked. Obsessed. I love musicals. Musicals have been a comfort genre for me for as long as I can remember, since I was little. Wicked has taken over my life. Incredible on all fronts. The reason why it's number 6, I will tell you guys in a second. It's about the witches from The Wizard of Oz. To me, Wicked is the definition of a movie. The way that I felt when this movie ended and the way that so many other people in the theater felt literally when the lights turned on, that is the magic of movies to me. That is the definition of watching a moving picture and having the movie kind of take over you. That's why I feel like so many people have cried watching this film. By the end of it, I was bawling. The emotion that Cynthia Erivo was able to portray, not only Cynthia Erivo, but John Chu, with the way that he crafted this musical number and this just, oh my god, I'm getting, I thought the casting was perfect, especially Cynthia Erivo. I think she just embodied Elphaba in a way that I didn't even know was possible. Like the emotion in her eyes, I really felt for Elphaba the entire film. The costumes were amazing, the production design was amazing. The only thing I have a bit of a problem with, and I'm sure a lot of other people have already talked about this, and I don't want to be this person, but I have to because I kept thinking about it while watching the film, is the cinematography. A lot of it looks great. Yes, a lot of it has a lot of color, a lot of life. There's a lot of great things about it, but there's also some things that I just didn't like that were distracting to me while watching the film. The sequence in Dancing Through Life, I love that number. The music was amazing, the choreography, everything, but the cinematography was just so distracting because it was so backlit and a lot of it looked kind of dull in my opinion. And I hate to see this incredible movie having this issue. It would have been way higher on my list if it wasn't for this. I'm so sorry, guys. I really don't want to be that person, but it's just, I was thinking about it while watching it and it's just not, I just didn't like that aspect of it. Number 5, Anora. Directed by Sean Baker, starring Mikey Madison. Anora is a sex worker from Brooklyn. She meets this young Russian guy at the club that she works at, and they kind of hit it off very, very quickly. He ends up hiring her and they spend a lot of time together, and they end up getting married very impulsively, and it's kind of like this fairy tale for her. She now gets to have everything that she wants. His family, they are kind of an important family, and when they find out, that's when everything goes wrong. There's so many ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs, and it was beautiful, it was hilarious, it was really sad as well. Mikey Madison is a star. This movie will have you laughing so hard, but there's just something so deeply sad about it and about the character of Anora that I thought was really well done. Number 4 is Evil Does Not Exist, directed by Ryosuke Hamaguchi. He directed Drive My Car, which was one of my favorites in 2022. It's about this man and his daughter. They live in a village in Japan. One day this company arrives at the village saying that they want to build a glamping site in the village in order to attract tourists. Everyone in the village is pretty much against this idea because it does not benefit the villagers at all. So the two representatives of the company, they try to come to an understanding with the man, Takumi. This movie is really, really, really slow, which I loved. You truly get to see how the people in this village live. They live a slow life. I feel like this movie will divide a lot of people. And I feel like it's a little ambiguous and you have to come up with your own conclusions about what happens in the film and your takeaway from it. What I took from the movie is that you can't really mess with nature. Nature will take its course. It doesn't necessarily mean nature is evil or humans are evil. It's just the way that things happen. There is serenity in nature. There is violence in nature. There is routine, as well as things that can disrupt set routine. To me, it was just masterful filmmaking, and it truly stayed with me after it finished. I highly recommend you guys watch Evil Does Not Exist. I feel like it's not really talked about as much. Number 3, I Saw the TV Glow. It's about a teenager, Owen, who is very curious about this TV show that he's not allowed to watch because it airs really late at night. A classmate named Maddie introduces him to this TV show and they watch it together and he kind of becomes obsessed with it. It's kind of like this supernatural horror TV show that he feels incredibly drawn to and attached to. It is an incredibly heartbreaking movie. What can happen if you don't embrace who you are as time passes by? Obviously, it's never too late to be true to who you are, but every day that passes makes you wonder if it is too late. Like I said, it's heartbreaking. It's also so beautiful. There's something very nostalgic about it. When you're not living as yourself, it kind of feels like you're being buried alive. And that's something that this film was able to capture perfectly. I loved this film so much. It made me so emotional. Number 2, Perfect Days. Again, another movie that I think was released in 2023, but it wasn't released in the US until 2024. So I'm going to count it as a 2024 film because also, it's my number 2 film of the year. This movie means so much to me. It truly made me look at life differently. I feel like I've talked about this movie throughout the year so many times, especially on my Instagram. I've made videos and videos and videos and stories about this movie. Even when I went to Japan, I went to see one of the bathrooms that was featured in this film. I love this so much. It's about this man who lives in Tokyo and he cleans toilets for a living. He cleans public bathrooms all throughout Tokyo. He is not portrayed as someone who is miserable and hates his job, and the total opposite. He lives his life so peacefully. He's so fulfilled. He goes to his job, which he's grateful for. He enjoys it. He comes back. He reads his books. He waters his plants. He takes pictures of trees. And he's just so content with life. It was truly so inspiring to me. I feel like sometimes we take things for granted, and I'm not saying you have to be 100% happy and positive all the time with everything that you have. Sometimes you really have to look at the little things in life and appreciate them. It's just a beautiful movie with a beautiful sentiment, and I just love the simplicity of it. If you still haven't watched it, please do so. It's a beautiful movie, beautiful film. And now we've reached my number 1 movie of 2024, and it is Challengers. Challengers was directed by Luca Guadagnino, the man of the year. It's about these 2 tennis players who grew up together, playing together, the best of friends, until this girl comes along and they fall head over heels for her. They've always had this competitiveness with each other, especially in tennis, but also in trying to win over this girl. Everything about this film I found perfect filmmaking. The non-linear storytelling was exhilarating. The soundtrack is one of the most memorable things about this movie. It just really added to this exhilarating feeling. The creative cinematography, the different shots, the POV of the ball, the way that the camera went under them while they were playing. I mean, everything is so genius. Like, he used his entire brain power to make this movie. And then went and made queer as well. Like, I'm still can't wrap my head around that. It is definitely the most sensual movie of the year to me. I also loved everybody's acting. Like, I could feel the sexual tension between everybody in this film. Is it just a churro? No, it's not just a churro. It's a churro. I'm kind of sad that it was released kind of earlier in the year because I feel like a lot of people have moved on a little bit from it. I don't want to move on from Challengers. But anyways, they are nominated in my heart to the Monikas, and they've won. They won everything. They are my number 1 movie. That is my top 10 of 2024. I still have to see some movies that obviously I didn't include, and I don't know if they would have made it into the list. Please let me know what your top 10 has been, or your top 5, or your favorite, your top 1. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.